Okay, this is the March 9th, 2020 Extracurricular Committee meeting. Steve Miller, the chair. If the others could introduce yourselves to get started.
Brett Cooper.
Bucky Scott.
Kathy Haynes.
Rob Hurley.
Eileen Schmidt.
Okay. Well, we have 30 minutes and a lot of items on the agenda. I don't know that many will take a lot of time, but let's start. The first item on the agenda is the Lancaster 11 League merger.
We've been talking about this quite a bit, and in football only, the Berks County athletic directors have been in contact with the Lancaster 11 League about, and as we've talked about, they've extended an invitation to the Berks County schools to join that league. Again, it's football only. As a result, when this started happening about a month ago or so, we sat down and we met with the Packtown Pioneers group, as they're now called, and we met with them also because a couple years ago they had reached out to us. We also, Eileen surveyed our coaches in regards to what their thought processes are on that other league and what's going on here. The consensus of our coaches, and I need to speak to this in a moment, is they want to remain in the Berks County League and then for football go over to the Lancaster Lebanon League. The reason why this becomes time sensitive and we can't control this is they have asked us for a commitment or a commitment by tomorrow, I believe, on this in terms of for football. And so that's kind of one of the reasons. We would have brought this up anyway for a second time tonight, but I just kind of wanted to fill you in. I think you can add anything to that.
I think the reason for the early push for the commitment is the scheduling. In terms of the next cycle. So it wouldn't be for this year, it would be for the following year, but they try to get that out. We've really had some, and they've had some difficulty with the size of the Berks League scheduling.
Sure.
And I think there's 4 or 5 schools that don't have a Week 5 game, and we're included in that. So 3 of the schools we're looking at, one is out of state, one is an A school that's just starting football in Philly, and then one is out in Pittsburgh, so it'd be a 2.5-hour drive. That's the 3 closest. That's the 3 I could find.
This is for 21?
This is for this year.
Oh, for 20.
For this coming year. We don't have a Week 5 game. Reading doesn't have one. Mifflin, Exeter, and Wilson was trying to move one to get us to play them. So really, that's why they're focusing on football. It's going to open up scheduling for us and make things a little bit easier. The coaches I spoke to, I didn't speak to all coaches, but the ones I did speak to, knowing that a full sport move wasn't on the table, they still like being in the Berks. They like the tradition. They like where they stand. I even had the volleyball coach, I will tell you, when asked, he liked being in District 3 because it was a harder district. So the last 3 state champions have come from District 3.
Instead of District 1.
Instead of District 1, yeah. So it's a myriad of different reasons why they wanted to stay. But certainly, I think if it came back as a whole sport move, it might be a little bit different because you'd be breaking up the Berks anyway. If you're adding into the LL as a whole. But it's just football only, and I was assured it was football only.
I guess the only concern would be most of the schools our size in that league are pretty far away.
They are. I think we're slotted with Ephrata, Lanco, Twin Valley, Fleetwood, Manheim, and Garden Spot. If we would move to the PAC, maybe a little bit shorter, but then you're also going 422 the wrong way.
Right.
So it might be shorter in mileage, but it could be the same in time. And again, it's just football, so it's not every sport, and it's a Friday night or a Saturday.
I think the game changes clearly if they want to move all sports over. If that ever starts spinning, then I think we take a more serious approach with the pack and looking at that carefully.
And I guess the basketball team's already been moved to Section 2 for moving forward. Okay, because I know that's been a concern with the playing in Berks Section 1. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with this. Bucky, this is a formal letter to be considered as part of the move. Formal application of Boone to become an associate member of the Lancaster Lebanon Athletic Association in the sport of football. Any thoughts, concerns? Or?
Okay, my apologies, I did confuse you. So, what about football?
The Berks County League is looking to merge with the Lancaster Lebanon League for football only. And they need to have a decision by tomorrow, I guess. The other option.
You like it?
Yeah,
You like it?
yeah.
Because we talked about, was it PAC?
Yeah, the PAC. And that was the other option to look at. Instead of doing that, if we wanted to do something else, it would be with the PAC, and the PAC is all sports. And
The other thing what happened with the PAC too, when we talked about with them about all sports, like for example, the Berks piece, like in some of our better sports, they allow us to move up divisions, whereas the PAC will not allow us. Like we would be in their bottom division, and then there's a couple sports we're really good at, and that competition would probably not be real good for us there. So, and then there's another issue with the PAC where they don't have bowling, which that matters obviously to us, and there's some volleyball issues there too.
I'm not pro-PAC, I just was asking the question. I'm fine, obviously, you guys are good with it.
okay.
So I guess we probably want to bring that to the board, Brett. Would you like
Yeah,
just
that should come out for us being able to move forward with signing that letter.
Do we have to approve that tonight?
I think we should probably approve it. At least give us a thumbs up to go
Yeah,
ahead and
thumbs
sign
up
it.
and go ahead and sign it.
Yeah. To get the district, that's all.
Okay.
Did you say Pittsburgh was one of the places?
Out
Next year.
in Pittsburgh. If we
How
can't
many
find,
hours did you say?
pardon?
3.5?
It's like 2.5 hours away. It's just impossible to find week 5 opponents right now. The other one is out of state
I
over
thought it was
Dover.
farther away.
Pittsburgh, yeah.
Oh, no.
They must be
This
on
other
this side of
school,
it.
it's not in
Okay.
Pittsburgh, it's out towards.
Yeah, that's all. Fair enough.
Yeah, right.
Well, it sounds like that's an
She's
issue.
trying to sell it. It's just 2 hours away.
Pittsburgh going
Well, I think that's part of the issue is scheduling with Berks. That's why they're merging the football league. And that's for us this year. That's for reality. Apparently, we don't have a week 5 game. That's one of the 3 options we're looking at for this year. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next item. Is spring coaches update.
Yep, so we are fully staffed except for our varsity softball assistant. And I can roll this into number 2 too as we talk about this.
Okay.
So we've hired on board approval Tim Suglia for our 8th grade baseball position, Michelle Lodge for our track distance position, the Gilmores for our middle school track positions. That's Pete and Autumn.
Okay.
Pete is an assistant football coach, and Autumn is our head field hockey coach. There was one more in there. Christopher Weller, who was a 7th grade softball coach, will move up to the JV position. Now, our numbers aren't quite what it needs to be to have 2 full teams for JV for softball.
Right.
So a varsity and JV. So we're proposing to the rest of the Berks, which a lot of them do this right now. They'll play a full varsity game, and then they'll follow it with like a 3 or a 5 inning JV game.
Okay. So you said we were still missing a softball
We're
coach?
still missing the varsity assistant, but I wasn't quite as worried about filling that quickly with Christopher Weller being up there with Coach Trithal anyway.
I thought there was an assistant volunteer, unpaid.
There's unpaid volunteer.
Nika,
Joe Nika will be doing that. He was out there.
Yeah, Joe's very good. Okay.
So I know you had asked for a review of the interviewing process.
Right.
I don't necessarily, I have it in our handbook, so I'm going to give you a copy of our handbook.
All right, yeah, that'd be great.
Yep. And it reviews for the coaches how we go about and do it, and I marked it and highlighted it. I don't think we have an actual written down beyond that.
Okay.
In terms of a district proposal, I'm going to lean to Mr. Hurley on that one. But I can tell you what I tried to do. I tried to interview 2 people for each position, whether it's someone that we're taking from another sport or not. I can also tell you this year has been very difficult to find two people. Sometimes it's been difficult to find one person.
Sure.
So one person has sometimes been a little bit of an arm twist. So we make sure that we open the position. If I have to, I will. We have in the fall and then even in the present word of mouth. It's on the district site. We hit all the club coaches and club programs to see if they know of anyone. In the fall, I actually hit some of the local universities to see if they knew of anyone. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay.
I know at Spooky Nook and at the USA Training Center for Field Hockey, they posted it for us on their bulletin board. Some ways are a little bit easier, some ways are not. Some sports are easier and some are not.
Okay.
So then once we find two candidates or even sometimes just one, we do the interview process the way we're supposed to. We have a list of questions. And then I check references, and then we put it up for board approval.
Okay. Yeah, so we don't have a formal process or procedure other than this. Because I think what I'd like to see is make sure that we're doing the interview process where we're pulling the right people in for certain things. Like we have a lot of talent
Sure.
inside for specific sports, and making sure that we get those people involved, and making sure that, whether if it's a
Gotcha.
teacher, we do one thing, if it's an outside, we do something else.
Right.
Just make sure that we have everything laid out.
Right.
That's the procedure that we follow.
Correct.
Great. Do you know if we have anything, Rob? Or if not, we can just,
In what way?
where we would have, I guess, the procedures documented for.
We can put it together in a document.
Okay.
What we do is an informal practice.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Steve, 100%. We do need to incorporate. There are some people with certain sports expertise, and we should.
Right.
incorporate that.
Yeah, take advantage of that experience.
Absolutely.
Of course, it sounds like the bigger challenge is finding anybody.
And they can help us. Sometimes I think it's important that we're aware we have an opening right now. What we have is someone that has a lot of connections
Yep.
in those communities. Sometimes can find people that other people can't
Right.
for those types of jobs.
Yep.
So.
Okay. All right. Good. Then, let's see. Moving along, the baseball field update.
Fence is up,
Okay.
and we have the scoreboard out. That came from Watertown.
So we were able. Is it working?
Yeah, it works. I haven't turned it on yet, but it worked. It worked when we took it.
All right.
Yeah,
Good.
so we should be good moving forward with baseball. We did order on a side note. We ordered the softball fence,
Okay.
the white one. I'm not sure how long it's going to take it to come in. So I'm going to ask Halters to put up the old fence until that white one comes in.
Okay.
I would think it would be here within 2 weeks, but I also thought our chest protectors were going to be here in 2 weeks, and our baseballs were going to be here in 2 weeks. So
Okay. Yeah. Assuming that it's not made in China at this point.
right.
Okay. So, but the field's all taken care of.
The field looks pretty good.
Were there dugout issues or something?
What they did is they came in and they laid stone in the dugout and then coming out so that we're not having that worn grass track, and then we don't have the mud issue.
Okay. Softball fences ordered. Turf replacement update.
Field turf will be here tomorrow with
Okay.
me at 9 to kind of talk over some of the options that we have down there. Do we want to talk about the timing?
Yeah, the biggest thing is
It's
the
the good
timing.
news.
Yeah, it's good news actually that we can at least get one more year out of it potentially.
Okay.
2 more years out of that term. So in terms of Kathy hasn't budgeted for next year's replacement, so we'll be right on target.
Okay. Oh, good. So we can get another year out of it, but
Oh, yeah.
pending.
And the track is in good shape.
They brought the machine out, like we met with the guy and then they came back a second time with I guess all the time.
Yes.
Okay. And so what are they looking to do tomorrow then, as far as?
So tomorrow we're going to come. We had asked them to price some different things down there. Our track meets have a tendency to run a little long because all the jumping is down at this end.
Right.
So we had asked because we have that larger turf area down at the other end that we use sometimes to warm up. We asked them to come in and take a look at that in terms of just putting a lane and a pit instead of taking out all the turf. Just a lane and a pit so that we can have jumps at 2 ends. That way we don't have to start at 3 o'clock and we're not running into the lateness of running into lacrosse if we have lacrosse after.
Okay.
They're also going to take a look at at the different types of spray that can go on the track, because we know we will have to respray it. It's just a question of which direction.
Okay.
They ever fix the end of the track there? Remember Aaron used to always talk about the end of the track where, you know, it wasn't long enough. The one, I think it's on this end.
Yeah, I
Did they
think,
ever fix that?
not that I'm
Aaron
aware.
was one of our
No.
former board
Yeah.
members.
No, they
He was
did not.
also a track coach.
He
We
was.
have it budgeted.
It was, I don't know, it's not a
It's
big deal.
not fixed.
Yeah, I think what they were talking about, and I could be wrong on this, so bear with me, this has been a while back. I think it has to do with hosting district, like district meets.
Right.
And it has to do with the number of lanes.
Right.
And they would have to, my understanding is that wall you have out there, that's facing Daniel Boone, would have to be wiped out in order to do that. And so that.
Yeah, you have 8. You have 8 on the straightaway, but when you turn the corner, you drop to 6.
Right, right.
Yeah, so it's a great track, and that was one of the things that when they came in to say this is a fast track and it's a really good track. The problem is when you turn that, it was built to host
Right,
competitions like
right,
that.
but
The problem
then,
is
yeah,
when you
what
turn-
Aaron's saying that they screwed up where they placed it and
Yeah.
something. So it sounds like we budgeted to fix that?
There's a budget piece in the budget. They have like 4 different things in the budget. I can bring it
Okay.
to the next finance committee.
Yeah, that would be good to know.
There are different pieces to that in there.
I didn't mean to bring it up.
No, that's
Okay.
good. All right, so let's see. The next item then was golf at the Reading Country Club.
I'm going to be honest, I haven't gotten to Arrowhead yet
Okay.
to talk to them about
All right.
kind of smoothing that over before I move to Reading.
It sounds like Exeter is keeping the golf course from the saga that's been going on. They had, the township was looking at what to do, whether to keep the golf course and the restaurant, or to put townhomes in, and the last thing they need is more townhomes. So the township, I think, is set on keeping it as it is. But that's been a discussion. All right. The wrestling pads on the gym wall.
Yeah, we had to order some more tracking because we're going to extend since we have so many pads, we're going to extend the pads down to fit the length of the basketball court at each end.
Good.
Right now, I think it only covers like maybe right underneath the basket.
Right, yeah.
So we're going to
Yep.
extend so that it's completely all the way down on the length of the basketball court.
And we're going to be able to reuse the old wrestling pads?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Last item I have is the 2018 softball championship banner. I had heard that it was
Oh, it's
arrived.
up.
It's up?
It's
okay.
up.
All right, good.
Yep.
I'll have to go see it. Any new business for the meeting?
Steve, you had on the agenda budget items, strength coach.
Oh, I did. Somehow didn't make. I have the electronic budget in front of me. I didn't make it. So, yes, the strength coach. We wanted to budget for. We were talking about budgeting for a strength coach. Do we have a number for that, or?
I'm putting together the hourly because I think the problem with the straight position was that it would involve benefits and fees, right?
Yep.
So I'm working with a few people just to kind of talk that hourly, what that hourly looks like if they work with a team. And we have to remember, it's not just not just the time that you walk into the weight room. It's putting together the programs and the background work. And then that would also be how many teams actually want to use a want to use a strength coach, which I think most of them do, to be honest with you. And I think it's good for all of them.
Right. So
But some wouldn't be. I use track, for example. Track's in there right now, in the preseason. And then they might do a maintenance lift. The runners probably wouldn't do very much once they start competing. The throwers would. But it's the youth piece, so I have to get with each coach, figure out how much and how often.
Yeah, I guess it'd be good if we get the other teams to take advantage of it. I know right now the thought is that it's a football only thing, and it's not a good habit.
There's a number of teams that have talked about. It's similar to Huddle, the software. They do it a la carte. Each team kind of does it separately. And I think this would be an opportunity like Huddle to bring everybody under one roof.
Okay. We got some hourly. I mean, do they need to be there in the mornings or?
That'll be the hard part.
Right.
The hard part will be the scheduling.
Yeah.
And figuring out where teams can fit in there and whoever takes that position, how their schedule fits into that.
Okay. You have candidates that you're talking to, or?
Oh, I've had 3 people reach out to me already that were interested. A lot of them just want to get their foot in the door, you know, and not necessarily for a coaching position, but to start working with high schools and get that name recognition.
Good.
It is becoming more common with folks having those types of certifications. You're coming out at an undergraduate level with personal trainer certifications or strength conditioning specialist certifications.
Yeah.
It's whereas before it would almost be like a master's type program. Now it's a lot of undergraduate work being done.
Okay. And what about, you said 3 people reached out. I forgot the gentleman's name. The Birdsboro Community Center. I know
He's one of them, yeah.
Okay. Anything else that we missed on the agenda? All right. Any other new business? Then? All right. If not, that concludes the March extracurricular meeting. Thanks.
Let's do it.
Okay. It's March 9th. It is 6:10. And we're going to go ahead and start the Daniel Boone facilities meeting and transportation. Yep.
Okay.
Stephen Biggerstaff.
Good evening. So the first item on the agenda this evening is an update of the district office move to the high school. Phase 1 is complete. Phase 2 is the second part of this to complete the move over here. So as you know, we're repurposing the old annex kitchen. The A side will go to the band for band storage. Along with that will be a ramp coming off the back for the band to be able to go practice or take their stuff down to the field. So that is about 45% complete. They demoed the island on the A side. We have removed all the equipment in there. We still have J-Dog, the vendor, coming back to pick up the rest of the countertops and some freezer doors and some other equipment that we had to disconnect from the walls inside there.
And that's band storage.
It's going to be band storage on one side. We're going to put a partition wall with a dual man door in between the A and B side and the kitchen. B side will be administration file cabinets and storage area, and a small counter space that can be used for storage or for whatever district needs on this side. So that's proceeding forward. There'll be some locking changeovers. That's the move with Greg Miller down to this section, getting his office ready, and we're also going to utilize the area in between, which used to be the ice cream room. It's going to be also district storage, file storage areas. So that is still in process. We're about 45% complete. Deadline for that should be March or May 15th to get it completed. High school paving update. The RFP is out to bid. It's on the Daniel Boone website and also on Penvin. We have a pre-bid site tour and Q&A session this Thursday at 10 a.m. Engineer Boyer will be on site along with myself to take a tour of the properties and areas and field questions from potential bidders.
Do you know if they have to go fill something up, or can they just show up? I actually had somebody that asked me about
I believe
the
that,
process.
I believe we stuck it out there that they can just show up. There's no pre-registration.
No, there's no pre-registration.
Okay.
We'll have a sign-in sheet for
Yep,
vendors.
for anybody that shows up.
And we'll meet at the high school.
And when is the bids due? When are the bids due in by?
I think the bids close at the end of March, do they not?
Is it the 23rd or is it the 20th? I'd have to look at the website.
I believe it is the 23rd. if
I think it's the
remember correctly.
23rd because food service is the 20th. That one's the 23rd.
Okay.
The high school project that was approved by the board in January is starting this Thursday also. The contractor will be, the landscaper contractor will be in here to start digging out in between the cafeteria and library sections to affect the courtyard installation. We had IT security in here today, starting the fob work for the doors on both sides. The other vendor that we were responsible for was the vinyl fencing, the 8-foot fencing with gate and emergency exit, out the back of the courtyard to the front. That will be done after the installation project is complete.
When's the landscaper starting this week?
He's starting Thursday.
Thursday. Awesome.
So looking forward for maintenance, Interstate Maintenance is providing us 4 full-time maintenance personnel, which has enabled us to really hit filter changes, greasing, lubing, work on the preventive maintenance side. So we're moving along at a better expected rate in the last couple of weeks with the people that are here on site. Work orders were at 48 as of Sunday. Preventive maintenance work orders are being checked off every day and are on the system to show that things are moving along. I'm developing a summer maintenance plan for the school district for this summer, which will include custodial, a work plan basically to make sure that we do deep cleanings of all classrooms, working to maybe do some project work that I'd like to bring to the board's attention next month for a couple suggested projects for this summer. One would be the high school cafeteria, needs some work, and the other is I would like to do some paint and carpeting work at the AIC on the second floor classrooms. I'd like to do that. I can either do a PowerPoint presentation using the projector, or I could make a packet that would show some of the areas. I have some photos, and I got some cost estimates just so that we can look at to judge whether or not we want to move forward. But I think with the addition of the courtyard in the cafeteria section and looking at the area, there's some flooring issues, or painting needs to be redone, lighting, and I've even spoken with Director Matz about some technology upgrades in the area for the students and for activities that are conducted in there. As you know, we have a lot of parent groups that meet in there, sports and activities that are conducted inside there. And it really is a showcase for the district as far as those types of meetings are concerned.
In the cafeteria?
The cafeteria itself. I believe current seating capacity is around 350. And I know that the principal has asked about getting a different type of table in there to increase the capacity, because we're limited with the round tables versus using a longer table like we used to use in this cafeteria. So he's reached out to me, and I'm just developing cost options. Obviously, it's up to the committee and the board as a whole whether or not we can proceed.
Does he find himself in need of being able to sit more than 350?
Yes, he does, because what happens is they have overflow periods where currently we're utilizing the A side of this current cafeteria system to fill in for study halls, and when they have teachers out and different events at the school. So he's saying that, in the potential of going forward in the future, they would like to consider maybe dropping back a lunch. He's made a lot of different suggestions around, and he just asked if I would look at developing costs to see what it would cost to do that for seating. So I told him I would.
Okay.
The athletics fields are ready for spring sports. The last thing we're doing, baseball fields, softball fields are ready. At the middle school and here, pretty much. The middle school is a little bit more lagging because we had some water build up on some of the fields. But this baseball field out here is ready to go. We got a scoreboard. Eileen was able to finagle from Blairtown for free. So I think we're good to go for the season. So we should be able to look forward and hope our team does really well. Lacrosse, boys and girls, middle school and high school, they're ready to go as well. Equipment's been out. Halter's did a fantastic job in making sure that was ready. So
It's been wet.
the next item is the Interstate Custodial Maintenance update. I believe they're still struggling with hiring, and they do have a deadline of March 20th when Halter's is going to start pulling their personnel out. Halter's currently supplies them with 5 additional heads. Well, not additional, they're figured into the contract, but because Interstate has struggled to get the amount of custodial that they've needed in hiring. They've been utilizing them with verbal agreement, but Halters is going to start pulling their people on March 20th, which is just 11 days away. So I know that Manager Crick has said that she's hiring, but she's having problems getting enough staff in the buildings and in place. And in fact, I know she's been tasked with cleaning herself a lot of times because she can't get personnel. So we continue to struggle on that end. All that being said, the lack of personnel, if we did have a serious issue with the coronavirus or another issue going on in the school, would struggle for the district as a whole, and this as a safety perspective, and I think about that all the time. And I know Mr. Hurley and Dr. Cooper think about it too, because we have to be prepared at all times. We've also struggled with getting enough supplies, one hand in keeping things moving in the supply structure. A lot of products are out of stock, even from a wholesale perspective, so there's not much you can do about it. However, like today, ran out and got Lysol wipes. We, making sure we have them in stock. We're running and getting tissues to make sure that we have enough in every classroom. We are making sure that the hand sanitizer stations that are in effect in the cafeterias, there's usually 3 per cafeteria and usually a couple in the hallways around the cafeterias, are stocked, and we do have residual stock in to at least get us through, I would say, the next month. So we're really hoping that the weather will break and this virus doesn't, spread as some had predicted, but we do see new students every day. On top of that, I know Manager Crick has been making sure that her personnel are wiping down hard surfaces, addressing desks and lockers and bathrooms, to try to contend with it. But it is difficult when you have a manpower shortage to make sure that every surface can be touched every night. So they do continue to struggle on the custodial side. The maintenance side, we do have 4 maintenance employees, all 4 on day work. There are 2 that have been here since mid-February. They're learning the systems. I just got them email access, and they're on the work order system, so they are able to branch out on their own. I'm hoping to move one of them to night work by mid to early April, so that we have some coverage on the second shift to try to address some of the issues that we can't address during the day, obviously, because the students are in lighting and whatnot in classrooms, that sort of thing. Because you can't do that stuff during the day when the students are in. On the Interstate issue, I have been looking online and stuff. They do have the jobs posted on Indeed. I didn't see them anywhere else, but they were on there. They have not posted the job for the maintenance custodian or maintenance supervisor as of yet. It's a struggle that we're continuing to push through. And I know that the manager on site, Lori, is doing her very best, but we are still in need of more personnel as soon as possible. And I'm just bringing this up because I'm trying to be honest with the board so they can make a good decision when it comes to the RFP that's out there.
We're just not looking for anything extraordinary, just
No.
the basic that's in the contract.
Yes. The annex gym doors are on order that were approved by the board last month, and we do expect them to be in and installed by early April. So that will be a big plus, especially for that area, because we've had a lot of problems with doors down there. Bleacher and playground equipment inspection is scheduled for the week of Easter break or spring break. And that will be at each building to inspect and make minor repairs and adjustments to the building bleacher systems, inside and out. And the playground equipment, they're going to be taking a look at everything along those lines, athletic equipment. And I've already been hit with some other questions from the athletics department on things that they want to purchase, but I'll leave it up to them.
Because things are broken?
Yeah. Well, no, they want to add things in different places. I've been approached about everything from new basketball nets to matting on the walls to, it seems like when you get things moving, people come to you. Sorry. The concrete project is actually starting this week too. Drumheller is going to start with 88 ramps. We've asked them to start either here or the middle school. We have a meeting this week to develop the work plan to make sure that things are being pushed forward. We already touched on the coronavirus, so I'll skip over that. And the high school and facility summer plan. That's pretty much everything on the agenda.
I don't have any questions.
I have an extra item. We have another person that wants to lease a room over at Birdsboro. I'd like to bring it before the board at the end of this month to start for April 1st, if that's okay. He's just going to be using it. Him and a significant other are doing crafts, and they're going to use it for storage and just crafting. Their house has gotten a little too small, so.
Works. There's no.
Okay, as long as
nothing that
everybody's
prevents us
okay
from
with
doing
that,
it.
I'm just going to
And
bring
nothing
it.
prevents us from doing it, right? There's no.
No, I'm going to have all the leases end at the same time,
Yeah.
June 30th of 2024, to leave options open in case somebody wants to, take the whole building or
Did we
whatever.
ever finish this things up with the church? Did they rent the extra space?
They're renting the other space. You should be signing. It's on the agenda. You'll be approving that lease this month.
Okay.
So they'll take that other, and that'll start April 1st as well.
Okay.
And it'll coincide.
And with the other one.
Yes. Everything will end. I think the one classroom we're renting with the Legos, Frank Akers, his lease actually ends July 31st of 2024, but it's only a month difference, so it shouldn't impact anything.
Right.
So whatever the board chooses to do at that moment.
Great.
So if you could bring that out, that would be great, and then we'll add it to the,
You mean to bring that up today? Okay.
and then I'll have the lease available on the voting agenda so you can actually see the lease as part of the voting.
You saw me not writing, so you figured, hey, he's probably not getting any of this.
Nudge, nudge, hint, hint.
She noticed that glare. That blank stare. Okay, is there anything else? Want to say something?
Sure. Just so we're informing what's going on. So, David Williams, Director of Education Services. A few things. I pulled the ad for the maintenance supervisor. We're having issues finding someone who's qualified at the pay rate that we're trying to find somebody. So I am with the office trying to figure out how much we can actually pay to try to find somebody to come to be the maintenance supervisor. We are still looking for a custodial supervisor. Part of the reason that Lori is having to cover at night is because of a specific individual that we are searching for to replace is never here, is always out sick, there's always some issue, then that's forcing Lori to come in the evening to help cover these spots. We are fully staffed right now. I know the agreement, well not agreement, Halter's employees are Interstate's employees. We hired them fully. We are fully staffed. We're actually 200 hours over for the month of February. Lori is having issues hiring. I'm not going to sit here and lie about that. We're having issues everywhere trying to hire. She interviewed 2 people today. She interviewed a couple people last week. I don't know where we are in terms of fingerprints, backgrounds. That's stuff I have to find out with the office. But we do have people going through the system. But saying that I have a lot going through, I would be lying. We have a handful of people that are going through the system that I'm hoping to pass that we can bring. But as of right now, we are fully staffed with our employees here. All right. And again, with the corona, I've sent the paperwork. If you have any questions about that, and every surface isn't going to get disinfected every night. There's just not enough manpower to get that done. A lot of the horizontal surfaces in terms of the desks, tabletops, that stuff is this regular stuff that's getting wiped down daily. The doorknobs, the light switches, all that other stuff, that becomes more of a weekly task, but that's something we want to try to utilize every single night. That is going to be more manpower for us. All right?
The supervisor position that you're put out for,
Yeah.
is that something that was in the contract from the beginning?
For what, the maintenance
For the
supervisor?
maintenance supervisor?
Yeah, that was from the beginning, was having a maintenance supervisor.
And my only question would be then, we're well into the contract. I'm sorry, you're showing. Those things to be sitting down now to determine how much we can pay somebody seems like it's a little long, late in the process, just for me. I mean, when I hear you say that, we're going to be sitting down, we pulled the ad, we got to figure out how much we can pay. I mean, we're 9 months into this already.
Oh, yeah,
I'm just, and I'm being, you're being honest, I'm being honest what I'm saying, what I hear, And then two, with Halters leaving, I mean, there's always been this end date coming. 5 people leaving in 11 days seems like there's a train wreck
Well,
coming.
it's not all 5 people, so
Okay.
we have people ready to go.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
not like we're trying to fill 5 positions.
Okay,
I think we only
I
need
wasn't
to
sure.
fill 3.
That's what I was hearing.
Yeah,
So,
no,
okay.
it's, that's why I keep saying it. It's not 5 people.
Okay.
We have people ready to go. Part of the reason why we are over on some of the hours is we have additional people for when they leave.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not 5 people. Honestly, I think it's like 3.
It's 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is still 3 people. So again, we are trying to look for 3 individuals to fill those slots.
Okay, they were the only 2 questions I had, yeah. But thank you for the update. I think, pretty good?
Do you mind if I say something?
Sure.
So, like, at the beginning, you weren't here. I don't know if you were here at the
Not very big.
when we were all here as a board. But the whole idea was that one of the selling points of you guys, I'm not trying to beat you up either, but one of the selling points was that you were right down, I think it was Spring Ford.
It's 1 room?
And, if you need people, that was one of the selling points, at least I remember, that you could pull people from another area. Is that,
So we've done that.
we've done that?
So
Okay.
during the summer, when we started working every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
Right.
the crew that was coming in to do floor work was our project team from Springford. We brought in about 16 or 20 people that were all from Springford to come in and help with floors. Part of the crew that is here is from people that were from Springford, or family members, or people they know in Reading as well that were looking for jobs. So versus using Springford, I just can't do cleaning there too.
Right,
So,
I get it.
yeah, I
But I
can't
remember
just-
that being, again, it wasn't
Yeah.
you, it was your salespeople that were doing that really slick thing, like, no problem, we can pull managers from here, we can do this,
Yeah.
and, I mean, that's what I was, that's all. But
No,
I mean,
it just, look, it's,
I
I
get it.
can't fix what they said. The communication needs to be more of, we have people in the area. I can't sit here and tell you, yeah, we do cleaning at Springford, and I'm gonna pull 5 cleaners to come
Yeah.
clean your building, because I'm not cleaning theirs, and they're their employees. So that's a fault of ours, and we need to communicate that better, but I think the point is we are utilizing that staff. Some of the people that are working here are people that are known as Springford employees.
Sure.
But I just can't on a regular night pull Springford employees to come here and clean.
So you're not finding people here, just period, just because no one wants to work here? Is it the salary?
I mean,
Are we paying the same as Springford, or you pay a little bit less here than
It
you did?
depends on the position. I mean, we have some places that, depending on what the school wants, like they pay their employees higher than we pay our employees. But that's based off of Springfield, not here.
Their contract, I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they fully staffed?
No, I think we're looking for 4 or 5 people there too. I mean, it's a working economy. I mean, I'm having issues everywhere trying to find. And I mean, nobody wants to clean. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses, but nobody wants to clean. We're hiring people. We're trying to show them the areas. They're lasting about a week. And this isn't your guys' issue at all. This is ours. We're trying to work through it. We're trying to find people. So, I would love to say that this is the only place that we're trying to find people, but it's a lot of my school accounts we're trying to find people. It's a lot of work, and a lot of people don't want to clean toilets for what the pay is.
So the pay here is less than...
I've actually just increased the pay. So because we weren't finding anybody, I increased it by $1, but we're not going to find somebody. It was a 50-cent increase that they last 90 days to at least. I'm hoping that they get in here, they'll wait the 90 days to at least get an extra 50 cents, and by then, maybe they'll finally understand what their area is, it won't be as bad, and they'll stay on board longer.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you. Any discussion? And that ends our meeting. It is now 6:33.